Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Edgar. Once again, I want to welcome you guys to another edition or episode or whatever of the Duke Rant. Okay. Now I'm highly intimidated. I'm not my usual self. I'm panicking. I'm afraid because we've had so many people on this couch for some time now. But this seems to be one of the most intriguing, one of the biggest, one of the most. I don't use too many words before I start thinking that this thing. So let me just quickly introduce guys to Mr. Biodun Shobanjo, founder, chairman of Troyka Holdings, a bit Troyka Group. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here.
Brilliant.
I hope that the next 45 minutes or so is going to be very interesting for both of us.
Yeah. Let me ask you very quickly, why security? Why security? I know you have a security company, Halogen. What to concern security with marketing communications? What's the idea behind that?
Okay, I think it's a very interesting question to ask, given that I cannot claim to have any training at all in that sphere of business.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain things that life throws at you.
Yeah.
And if you're a bit perceptive, you probably can see opportunities from them.
Mm-hmm.
So the birth of Halogen can actually be said to be an unfortunate incident from which one saw opportunity.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't know whether you want to be bored with the story. If you have a bit of time, I can just quickly do a backtrack
No problem.
to 1992. I was in my house sleeping. At about 10 minutes to 1 a.m., my telephone rings. There was a very heavy voice at the end of the telephone with an American drawl who said to me, and I remember as if it was yesterday, he said, "Listen, get 100,000 naira ready or we'll blow your ass."
Ooh.
So now you imagine you're sleeping, your telephone rings, the landline. We didn't have a mobile phone at the time. And I was privileged to be one of those who have that treasure.
Yeah, that time.
So I was waking up from sleep, so I picked it, and I actually thought it was my wife who was calling from New York because she'd gone to the United States and was due to come back that morning.
Oh, brilliant.
So now this was the days of Nigeria. So I thought the reason she was calling me was to say, "Don't send the driver to the airport. They've canceled the flight."
Okay.
But then this heavy voice. So I jumped up from bed and I'm like, was I dreaming? Did this phone did it actually ring? And I knew the phone rang. So anyway, I dropped the phone and I started calling the police. All right. Long story short, somebody picked the phone and he said, "We'll send the police to your house." Which they did.
Oh, brilliant.
So look, and that's what I always say about institutions or organizations. The Nigerian police, our Nigerian police, can be very good.
Yeah.
If they choose to. I think that's the condition.
If
they choose to. And there are some very fine people in that force across the strata. Because I remember clearly there was one guy who first picked that phone. He found what I was saying and he was just laughing away and speaking in English to his colleagues who were listening. Make una come hear this man, he said somebody phone him. And I could hear all of that.
I was saying.
And another guy came on the phone and said, "Good morning, sir." And he was very serious, business-like. And he said he was the one that assured me the police would come. And the police came to my house.
Where was that now? Surulere?
I was living in Okpebi.
Okpebi, okay, brilliant.
This was in 1992. I believe 28th of January or thereabout. So the police, and I said, they asked me what happened. I told them. And I said, "Please," because that's bang on the main road. I said, "Please, could you mount a roadblock?" I was panicking.
Yeah.
And they said to me, "No, we wouldn't mount a roadblock, but we'll keep an eye on the area. And they said to me, look, we know you. Each time you go out with your wife, you're coming back, we see we mount a roadblock. So they knew that I lived in the neighborhood.
Neighborhood, yeah.
So they left. At about 10 to 3, this car screeched to a halt in front of my house. The 4 doors flung open. 4 guys came out of the car, and they moved towards my gate and started rattling the gate.
Oh my God.
And they were shouting, security, you can't go open gate, come open gate. So my security guys got up from the gatehouse, walked towards them, and suddenly realized that they thought it was the police that came back.
Yeah.
So they stopped. And they kept saying, come and open the gate. And when those guys hit it, they shot towards them.
Oh.
They shot towards them.
What did you do by this time? Did you run under your bed or something?
Now, before they came, after the police had gone, thankfully, I had a gun. I had a license to carry a gun. So I carried my gun, I loaded, and I changed a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and I was waiting in case anything would happen.
Yeah.
And it actually happened. So I gently opened my window and opened fire.
I think I heard that story.
So that
was in the paper.
So this was around 3 a.m. And then I had one of them, when I opened fire, say something like, the man get gone. Why they can't send us gun this kind of place?
Oh.
So I think that they probably had some kind of a gang who are going to people's houses and raiding them and stuff like that. Now, they didn't expect the kind of resistance or reaction from it. So anyway, then they shot back, I shot, and after a time, there was some kind of a lull. I think.
Oh, wait, they shot back?
Oh, we exchanged fire.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes, we exchanged fire.
Where did you get that money from?
Well, people...
wait, hold on. Yeah, Jebu, you have juju.
Yeah. It's interesting. What has happened was that as a young man, there are people who would motivate you.
Yes.
Professor Shoyinka was one of the people that I admired.
Oh, brilliant.
And he was a hunter.
Yeah.
So it was because of Professor Shoyinka that I developed an interest in hunting.
Wow.
So I went and got myself a gun. I got a license. Things have to, for me, everything could be done properly. And I used to go to Jebu to go and rehearse and practice and things like that. So that was it. The shooting. So after some time, I think the police who said, we'll keep an eye on your neighborhood, had the gunshots and mobilized. But actually, it was a comedy of errors. What then happened was that when they called for reinforcement, the police came in mufti and made no announcements because they assumed that some robbers had entered my house and they were going to flush out those robbers. Long story short, the shooting went on from that about 3 o'clock till after 7 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, my God.
This was now broad daylight. And then I dropped my gun and then opened my window and I saw all these people lying out down there and I'm like, what are you guys doing? In my head, I still thought these were the robbers.
Oh, they're policemen.
These were policemen in the mufti. So, anyway, eventually the whole matter, I was arrested, taken to Panti and all that. And I spent about 3 days in Panti.
Oh. Oh, my God. Yes. Is that the cell? Behind counter?
No, I was actually in the control room. They treated me nicely.
Oh, okay. Why they arrest you?
Well, because some of their men had also been, how am I going to say it now? Were slightly injured during the exchange of fire. And, obviously, and of course, their view was that they had come out to help and then, as it were, they be caught in the crossfire. That's why I said it was a comedy of errors. Now, this was during General Babangida's regime.
Oh, brilliant.
This was during the military regime. So I was held for about 2-3 days, and then subsequently, they found that it was a comedy of errors. Now, why did we go into security? I noticed that the security company I had that day were totally useless.
Oh.
They didn't know the beginning or end of security. And then I then said to myself, look, with all of these kind of people threatening, and if they started going to my colleagues' houses, those who had also moved up in the system, that would be disaster for us. So I said, why don't we go and get proper security guards from the well-established security companies?
Okay.
My guys went round the whole of Lagos, and we needed about 36 guards, our offices and homes.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't any security company in Lagos in 1992 who could give you 36 guards. So they said we needed to wait for 6 months. Now, this is where the entrepreneur, the visionary in me
Came out.
kicked in. So I said to myself, if we wanted to start a security company, how long would it take from start to finish? So I spoke to a friend of mine who was in the police force. He was the commissioner of police. He eventually became an inspector general of police.
Wow.
Much later in life. So I went to ask for his, guidance and advice. And he said to me, start to finish, if everything goes well, they're able to do security clearance and all that. It will take 3 months.
Oh.
So for me, a 3-month option was better than a 6-month
6 month
option.
wait.
So that's why we pursued it. And he was the one that also guided me in terms of how do you find people, but I was clear in my mind, as we tended to do with all our businesses, that it must have to be a totally different security company.
Yeah.
Now, how can that be when I knew nothing about security? I was going to find help from outside. So I went round. I went to the United States. I went to Europe. I was looking for a technical partner
Oh, brilliant.
who would
Understand.
help us, train our people, guide us, all those kind of things, so we can set it on a proper footing. And when I went round Western Europe and America, I knew that was not where I needed the help, because our security problems were totally different.
Yeah.
And it's still different till today. People are breaking into homes, and they don't do that in America. Nobody does that. Break into your home and point a gun at you because they want to take a telephone or some silly thing, So that's how we started Halogen. We started with exactly 36 guards the day they passed out. They did a partner. We started from Crystal Estate, very near Festac.
Oh, brilliant. I know it is.
And then everything about them was different, from their uniform, from their attitude, from whatever. And then when people now came to our offices or our residences and said, where did you get these guys from? We said, there's one company called Halogen. You can go and talk to them there.
Oh.
And so that's how
the
company started growing.
Okay, wait, sir. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about grants. Grants. Is it grant advertising or grant?
Grant advertising.
Yes. So I was reading the book, of how you started Insights from grants. If you're aware with that Mr. Akinlade, that's his name, Abi? Akinlade, I would have punched you. Did he try to punch you?
Well, it's funny you now crossed over to advertising. Today,
Yes.
exactly marks 53 years
Wow.
that I started my career in advertising. Exactly today.
Oh, congrats.
So
It's a milestone.
yes, it is indeed. No, he couldn't have appointed me. We were both appointed to the board on the same day. Thanks to the owners of the business and the Americans who initially ran the business and were part of it, part owners of the business, that they had put forward two young people, two young Nigerians, and you have to understand the context. This was after the indigenization decree, so where ownership had to rest with Nigerians and stuff like that. So they sold their equity and all that, and management also had to go into the hands of Nigerians. And I was a young executive at the time. I was about 31. Going 32, and that was we've done. I think the reason I wanted to leave, or I decided to leave, was that the company had started dropping the ball. I think the first were doing very well. When I joined the company, it was the third biggest company.
Yes, yeah.
It was number 3. I've been there for 4.5 years. We were still number 3. And I didn't like being number 3. I thought we could challenge for number 2.
Or number
challenge
1.
for number 1. And I could see that really we were dropping the ball. So, and plus, the company was also doing certain things that I didn't quite feel was fair or proper in terms of what you might regard as corporate governance issue.
Okay.
I, as an individual, I believe very strongly in people, in particularly when you sell service. What you have, there are no machines, there's people.
People, yeah.
So therefore, I feel that people, in terms of compensation, they needed to be properly compensated. That wasn't the case, in the sense that there was what I saw as a bit of discrimination. We had expatriates who were in the company. In terms of hierarchy, they were like number 3 and whatever. And yet, in terms of their reward system, they were rewarded ahead of those who were, their seniors, as it were, in terms of hierarchy. And I didn't think that was proper. The owners of the business felt otherwise. And I'll give you an example. A situation where the school fees of the children of the expatriate was being paid in Switzerland.
Yeah, I heard that.
And where that of the managing director, I wasn't the managing director. I didn't even have kids at the time.
Kids at the time, yeah.
Who just attended the school across the office. The company didn't think it proper to. I didn't think that was fair. Maybe I was young. Maybe I was being too radical like you. Maybe I should just have minded my business.
No.
Grant was a fantastic place. I totally, it made me. I mean, fact.
But how do you feel? How do you feel? How many years after now? How many years now? 30, 40 years from when you left Grant till today?
40, it will be 45 years.
Brilliant. So how do you feel balkanizing Grant, if I may use that word? Because you took the first 6 from Grant.
No.
I mean, that man not write the book where?
That's not true. First 6, no. I took young people with me.
From Grant?
They were all there was nobody that came with me from Grant who was older than 28.
Wow.
29. I went with young people. I mean, what we did at Insight, I think, if anybody has any doubts, should give us as Nigerians that these are young people that we say should wield it tomorrow.
Yeah.
They are capable of doing things. They just need leaders.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Brilliant.
I mean, Nigerian kids are amongst the most brilliant that you can find.
Yeah.
They are very intelligent. They are very committed. They are very passionate. They can be very passionate. They just need a leader. I was just there. I was a 30-something-year-old leading them.
Oh.
Of course. I was 35. So
That
I
was
had
a
all
very
these
young team.
kids. Sorry?
That was a very young team.
Of course. The truth about it was that I doubt if up to 15% of people give us the chance that we'll survive.
Tough.
It just keeps reminding you of Dirty Dozen, if you remember that, if you ever watched that movie. That you can motivate people to do things.
Yeah.
I think not a lot of people give us a chance that we will survive.
Yeah, because from what I read from that book, the industry was closed. So we had Linters, we had OBM, we had Grant, and they had them all of the price. So you coming out from nowhere with no foreign affiliates, you get, how are you going to break in? Let me ask you.
And no money.
And no money. That's come to the money part now. So when what's his name now? Awoshika.
Yes.
So why did you send him to Kano to collect the cash? What if he ran away from there? He must have had a very strong.
No.
He came back 3 days after.
Awoshika went to collect. He went to collect 50,000 naira from Jos.
Oh, sorry, Jos.
He went to Jos.
Okay.
And he got, in those days, to catch a flight from Jos, particularly during Hamatan, you had to go to Kano.
Yes.
That's quite a long distance.
Yes.
And he had that in his suit carrier.
Yes.
And he missed this flight and had to sleep at the airport because there was no money to go and get a room in an hotel.
Yeah.
And his suit carrier became his pillow. You know?
So did you panic? You answered for 3 days. You had no mobile phones.
I didn't even know where the hell he was because there was no phone. I just knew he's going to bring something. So when he showed up in my house with 50,000 naira, I'm like, how am I going to keep this money in my house? 50,000 naira. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
But that was money that was given to me by a friend who was also a client to support
The
that
startup.
initiative. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So when you look back, now before I ask you, looking back now, I hear you're very close to Fela Kuti
Fela,
at some point.
Fela was my big brother. And the one person who can attest to this is Benson Idonije.
Yes.
He's also my friend. You know that Benson is Burna Boy's grandfather.
Yes.
Okay. So we're all in broadcasting. And because I worked in the operations department, young boy, must have been about 22, 21, 22. You know, I had all the time in my hands. So each time I was on I was on afternoon duty, for instance, I tended to get to broadcasting house very early. Everybody knew me for that because the shift starts at 11. But by 9, I'm already in the office. Just looking around and playing with my friends who ran 8 to 3 like Fela did. So if Fela is going to work, and in those days you pass through Murtala Mohammed, that's the route you pass, not...
Tolman language.
No, not, there was no Tolman language.
Okay.
You pass through, there was Kata Bridge.
Kata Bridge, yeah, sorry.
There wasn't even second land bridge, talk of third.
Yeah.
So, but he would drive past the front of my house. I live in a street called Clifford Street. They've changed the name now to Murtala Mohammed or something.
Yeah.
So he would pick me. You know, it's a broadcasting house. And if you work late, sometimes, because sometimes, you know, Fela would just go to the studio and, you know, and I would close at 5. He would also bring me back home.
Oh, brilliant.
But it's never usually a straightforward trip like that. Fela would first stop by at Kingsway stores to buy. He likes things, sweet things.
Okay.
You know, sweets and things. Then sometimes he had a girlfriend somewhere. He would stop by there. Biodun, Mumbo, should read him. So I sit in the car. He'll go in, spend maybe 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour. I'm sitting in the car and say, where is this foolish man? And then he'll come. And when he started his jump, I was one of those who regularly was at the jump on weekends if I was not working. And even at that time, he had a car, an Opel Kadett car. I think the mom bought him that car. It was LK402. I remember the number. Yes. It had a carrier at the top. He built the carrier. And that's where he put his musical instruments. Even the loudspeakers that he'll use at the jump, he used to go and hire them at a place called Bajobi Rhythms on Petty Street. I would follow him, Victor Johnson, and Benson to go and hire those loudspeakers to mount on top
of the car.
The roof of the car. Yes, that's how close we were.
Wow.
Well, yes, everywhere. And, you know, we started from Kakadu. Well, after I finished all the Jabba joint, then he moved to Surulere. You know, it was when he moved to Keja that I stopped going.
So did you share any behavioral?
No. You know, if the fella that joined the NBC when he came back from the United States was a totally different fella.
Oh, from what we now came up to see.
Nah, the fella that you guys knew was a totally different human being. Fella that I knew would not drink Coca-Cola.
Are you serious? Because
if we said there was too much caffeine in Coca-Cola.
Okay.
What he would drink was Fanta.
Wow.
And when we had 2 canteens at the NBC, there's what we call African canteen and English canteen. You would never catch Fela in the African canteen where no. He was at the English canteen and he would buy Fanta and sausage roll. Fanta or meat pie. The fella that you guys knew later was a totally different fella. That was not the fella that I
That you
knew.
knew. Okay, let's jump away from there. So I'm not very happy with you. Let me just say it now, very quickly. I can't hide it again. So there's a guy called George Noah. You know him now. So George Noah said to me when he found out I was going to come and talk to you. So he sent me something on WhatsApp very quickly, and he said, I just walked into his site, and I said I wanted to see the MD, and they said he's not around. So I saw the DMD, that's Mr. Woshika, and I spoke to him, and then you called Mr. Woshika, and Mr. Woshika said, oh, that there's a young man in front of me I want you to see. And then you said they should come up to you, and they came up to you, and you had a conversation with him, and he said, can you start today? And the guy starts today. Is that a true story, first before I even say if I'm angry or not? It can be fabu.
First, there's not something as deputy managing director.
No, I mean, your deputy, that's Mr. Woshika.
Woshika was never my deputy. Who told you that?
Yeah,
Where did you get that from?
So what was it to you?
He was an employee of the company.
Mr. Woshika?
Yes.
That's what called Ballet.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Look, the way we ran our business, there's this thing, again, I don't know whether it's a Nigerian thing. So you call a couple of young guys together and say, we're going to start a company.
Yes.
And you say to them, you're going to be shareholders in the business. And how much are they putting down? 10,000 naira.
I saw it. Some people 500 naira.
Somebody put 500 naira. That's not the point. But each and every one of them understood that they were not directors of the company. They were just employees.
Yeah, I saw it.
Of course, yes.
So how do you make that happen? Because that's the problem I'm having now in one company now.
No.
My partner has climbed my head.
No. Because we are all going to start a company, doesn't mean that we're all going to be directors. People are invited to join a board.
Yes.
You must have achieved acquired particular knowledge, skills, attitude. There must be a whole lot of things.
Yes.
Where, don't forget, there were also outside directors in our company.
Yes.
Who were non
shareholders.
They were shareholders and directors, but they didn't work with us.
Yours, yeah.
All right, so we all would have to agree this one is now right to become a director, and we'll invite him to join the board. That's how people join boards. So I wish I was never my deputy. How could you do that? Now you have to understand, by the way, that I employed Aoshika at Grant.
At Grant, yes, I know that.
In fact, almost all the boys that took me, I employed all of them at different times.
So what's Aoshika to you now? Or what was he before you retired?
We are talking of something that happened 48 years ago. Aoshika is the group managing director of Troyka today.
So what was he before you left?
Before I left, he was managing director of Insight.
So there was no DMD at all?
He never used that title, as far as I know, except you want to give him that title.
So maybe I didn't read that book well, but I was reading in the air, so airplane turbulence wasn't making me really...
No.
Concentrate.
It doesn't really matter what is in about the title.
True.
That's not.
But my question...
The point you were talking about George
Noah. So
the fact that will tell you the system that we ran.
Brilliant.
If an Aoshika could have seen a George Noah. Incidentally, George Noah called me about 5 days ago.
Yeah. Did he mention me?
He didn't say that. He didn't tell me. He called me. He was in Canada when he called me.
Yeah. He's in Canada.
So the fact that an employee of the company, now it would interest you to know that when we started Insight, Aoshika was an account executive.
Okay.
When I was managing director, he was an account executive.
So account executive in advertising, is that like middle or low?
That's you are just
entry level. You're just starting.
Yes. And then he got promoted to become a senior account executive. And it was from that position as senior account executive that he was eventually invited to join the board. I must show you that we ran such an open system.
Yeah.
There's nothing about titles and egos. He's found a good material that he believed could work for the company and contribute. And he's saying, sir, I found this talent. Would you want to check him out? And I did. I wish I wasn't satisfied that the guy was, you know, the said that he should come and see me.
Okay, so I get it now. No wonder nobody took me to you. Because I came like 4 times. I'm telling you, I came like 4 times. No wonder nobody took me. That's unfair.
Nah.
So let me ask you.
Now it tells how good she must have been.
Well, okay, so what do you look for in a potential Associate.
let me tell you. Do you know how many people have appointed that have hired at first sight? There's a guy called Fela Kuti,
Yeah, I know him, Dr. Phil Osage. He left for JSL something.
GSP. Went to sell
JSP, yes.
what byproduct?
Yes, I know.
Raw. You know, he was a journalist in Jos,
Oh.
a reporter. He came looking for a job, and we saw him through the process. I saw him. Exactly the same thing. Would you want to start?
Wow.
Yes. You see, some of us have eyes and nose for talents.
So what are you seeing here now? Tell me. Say the truth, though. Don't be afraid, though. I don't die. This is why you didn't employ me inside.
I think, you are too much of a rebel. That's
So I'll scatter the whole place.
I won't hire somebody like you.
Okay, no problem. So Inside grew into Troyka. But before
Inside did not grow into Troyka.
Yeah, I've died. It's Touch that gave me that book, and I told you I don't be reading these books.
No. You have. I think you scanned through that book. If you read it properly,
yes,
and you were digesting as you went along, and I think you probably read it in a hurry as well.
Yeah, because I was in the
You'll
plane.
be able to follow. Yes, you'll be able to follow the trajectory.
Okay.
After Insight, if you said something like Insight was the catalyst,
Okay.
all right, to forming Troyka, I will accept that.
Brilliant.
You will not be too wrong.
Yeah.
It was indeed the catalyst. It was from that company that we saw opportunities.
And you're grabbing them.
And a lot of them by accident.
Wow.
Sometimes in one particular instance, what I probably would regard as enlightened self-interest. When we went into outdoor business, it was because a client who had given us all of his marketing communications business was complaining that a particular aspect was not being done properly. The outdoor component of his campaign. Now, we had no control over that. We are using third-party suppliers, out of whom they call them, they didn't use to call them, they used to call them outdoor companies in those days. And we're using the best, Afromedia, all of those guys. And the client will say, somebody said my posters are torn in Kano. Somebody said my posters are torn in Maiduguri and all that. And we'll tell these contractors, and they say, we'll fix it. Now, I'm sitting in Lagos. The client is sitting in Lagos. The sites are in Kano, and in Maiduguri, in Jos, or in Enugu, or whatever. I can't see anything that's going on. Don't forget, it's not now that you can even do things.
Yeah.
So, one day this client calls me and says, you know what? The next time I get a complaint about the state of my outdoor sites and they're in bad shape, I will take my entire business from you. Now, we were a young company. And that particular business was our bread and butter. So what was I supposed to do? As somebody who, again, I can be very perceptive. I mean, that may sound a bit immodest. So I called my guys. I said, you know what? We're going to start our own outdoor company. We didn't know anything about the business. And I said, we'll go and poach somebody from an outdoor company, and we use him again as the foundation for that. That's how we started the company called Clean Site Outdoor Services in 1984. 4 years after we started our advertising company. We started Insight in 1980. By 1984, we had started, building other companies.
Brilliant.
But that was how we started it. That company, eventually, we changed its name at some point in time, and it's now called Optimum Exposures.
Okay, so have there been any failures?
In the businesses that we started? Many.
So just a more spectacular failure. And did you cry? Which one made you cry? I was like, oh my God.
No, I was very hot. I was very hot because that company shouldn't have. Again, Duke, what do? You start these businesses. You cannot run all the businesses yourself. You have
True.
to put people there. So what we did when we started our second advertising company called MCNA,
Okay.
that was in 1990. This was 10 years after we started Insight. And what happened? We started running into conflict, what we call conflict in our business. So if you're doing, for example, if you're working for Nestle,
You
you're
can't do
probably going to be able
Cadbury.
to work for Cadbury, those kind of things. So I went to the UK and I was moaning with one of my friends who was the managing director of a big advertising company in the UK. And we were partners. The whole group, and we were part of that group. I was talking to a guy called Michael Bongi. And I said to him, Michael, look, I'm beginning to lose opportunities. Clients are coming and I'm saying, I'm sorry, I can't work for you because I have a conflict situation. And I said, no, Biodun, no. Start a second company, start a second advertising agency. And I said, but I'd like for that company to have a partner, to have a technical partner. He said, sure. Let's align them with one of the companies in our group.
Oh.
The same group. We all belong to the same group. He said, so I said, who? He said, go and talk to the guys in Sachi and Sachi. And in my presence, he picked the phone and called the managing director of Sachi and Sachi and said, Richard Humphreys was the name of the guy he called. And I'm telling you a story of 1990. I'm still remembering the name as we go along. He called Richard Humphreys. I said, Biodun will come and see you tomorrow. So I went to Charlotte Street. Sachi and Sachi, they were one of the most...
But they rejected you at Insight.
No.
It's in Abugo.
No. No. This was initially.
Initially
Much-
here at Insight.
Much late, yeah, because they were not... nobody wanted to come to Nigeria.
Yes.
That was the reason.
Yes. So this
More
4
than
years
late.
after now.
Oh, this
How
was a
many
couple of years.
after, yeah.
This must have been about maybe 6 years because I started searching from year 1.
Yeah.
In fact, by year 2, we found a partner. Bates.
Bits, yes.
Yes. So we went, and this company I'm talking about, we're part of Bates.
Oh.
So long story short, when I got to Sachi and Sachi, and they said to me, Biodun, so do you actually have a second agency? No, I didn't have a second agency. I said, yes, I had. And they said, so who runs the agency? He said, who heads your agency? And I said to myself, okay, who are the guys that will take there? And I started mentioning names. Right there, I said, this is my managing director. This is going to be the creative director. I started mentioning it. There was no such thing. And they said, okay, fine, we'll come with you. I came to Nigeria, pulled staff out of Insight.
Oh.
It was my staff at Insight because if you didn't do that, they're going to hit the glass ceiling quickly because of upward movement. So they went. It was the guy, because you're telling me about the leader of that ship was the one that torpedoed the ship.
Oh.
Fantastic guy, very good, very efficient, very professional. But I think
You're disloyal.
yes, he was disloyal and started running some businesses on the side, and his staff saw what he was doing, and they couldn't give that kind of loyalty and commitment that
Commitment
you
to the
require
work,
in an
yeah.
advertising agency. That was what killed the agency.
So that hurt you.
And some of the people who worked at that agency, we moved some of them. Of course, the agency died subsequently.
Oh.
We tried to revive it. It was the harm had been done because they lost quite a lot of some very key clients. We moved some of them back to Insight.
Oh, okay.
And some of those guys who were in that agency today, you know them. Steve Babayeko, for example.
Oh, I know him.
Yes,
The dreadlock guy.
He started his career from
From
MCNA.
there.
Larry Adisa, who is the current president of AAAN, who runs Noazak, was in that team. We brought him back to Insight. So these were guys who started some of them started their careers at MCNA.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic agency in those days.
Okay, so how did you balance family life with all of this? Because I'm sure you were working long hours and all of that. So were there any issues?
The way I'm still apologizing in a nice way to those, to my children. I am trying to make up,
Yeah.
for the time. I really, there really wasn't any time. I mean, it was, those days were hellish, if I
can
can
imagine.
say so. We worked late every day.
I can imagine.
There were no weekends.
Wow.
So, thankfully, my wife had to look after the children. But if you're not there
There's something.
for the children all the time, there's always some little
Yeah.
gap somewhere.
Yeah.
But I hope I'm making it up with the grandchildren.
True.
It was tough for those kids. I tried as much as to be available as much as I could. But the important thing was that they knew Daddy was at work.
Yeah.
I was either here working late. I've traveled overseas to go and do some work, and it was tough. It was really tough.
I can imagine.
But thankfully, it paid off.
Yeah. So you've not thought of listing the Troyka Group?
When that subject came up, in fact, one of my sons who works at the stock exchange, he's the one that runs NGX regulation.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, yeah. I saw him last month.
Femi,
Femi, yeah.
So, when we were arguing before, he used to talk about, Daddy, why don't you come and list and all that? You see, our business, my view, hasn't gone to that stage yet. Number one. Number two, there had to be a priority. Do you want investment from a partner that you can keep leveraging to build the business? Because look, we are still at child's play level here, even though it has moved on. Each time I look at advertising, people don't understand that. But for some of the work and sacrifices that we had done, and a lot of hard work, not just me, some of my colleagues in the business. I'm talking of those of us who were there, like, let's say, 50-something, 40-something years ago, 30-something years ago. Would you know that as late as 1980, this profession was classified as being in the non-preferred sector of the economy?
No, what?
Non-preferred sector of the economy.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yes. Even with the huge billings.
I beg your pardon. How much were the billings then? The first client that we had when we started Insight, the billing was 15,000 naira per month.
Yeah, that's the
International Correspondence
School. Yeah.
At the end of our first year, our total billing was 1.5 million naira. Now, that business today in Nigeria, spend levels in 2023 is 605 billion naira.
Oh.
Now, in 1980, the guys who drove it home to me were the bankers. I went to a bank where our company, Insight, wanted to borrow 10,000 naira. All right?
That's when you're starting out.
We had started out. We were towards the end of our first year.
Okay.
We went to the bank. We wanted 3 of our staff wanted to buy cars. And they applied for car loans, 3 of them. And the loan we wanted for 3 cars was 10,000 naira because the cars they wanted was about 3,000 naira. Brand new cars, about 3,000 something naira.
Yes.
The banks turned down our application. I was told, I went to the bank after the finance guy had gone and they turned it. I went with him and they said to me, Mr. Shobanjo, we can't lend your company any money. You are in the non-preferred. Do you understand that advertising is in the non-preferred sector of the economy? 1980.
Wow.
So if we hadn't worked hard and built that business, built the profession, it wouldn't be doing 600 and something billion
now.
today.
But how do you see the landscape now with social media? So everybody is now a content maker, creator. So how does that affect your business now?
if you sit in your room and you are creating content, it will be very difficult for you as a serious, and I'm saying as a serious marketing communication player, to massively impact major brands. We are talking of serious brands here.
Okay.
Brands that have been in the market for scores of years.
Yes.
What are you going to be creating to sell Stabia or Gulda?
Oh.
You know, those
Okay, I
are
see
mass
now.
market businesses. And I mean, digital, don't underestimate digital, but digital globally, and that leads me to the first question you asked about why aren't you listing? When you talk to a company called Epsilon, which belongs to Publicis, a company that was sold, or they bought it for about $25 billion, where they're creating content, where AI is going to play. You can't sit in the corner of your room and say you want to. What are you going to do? You understand?
Yeah, I do.
Again, I'm not underplaying. You know, those guys can keep playing in areas in which they can be, and they can continue to augment major efforts. And marketing communications is serious business. It's a $1 trillion global business, $1 trillion global business.
Okay, imagine. Let me ask you. Because I read that book, and then before I read that book, I've been following you. You know, so I make it a point of duty to follow you and Dukabak Bernard. So spectacularly, like I wrote my write-up, so I failed in the two areas, advertising. Yeah, so I was working with one funny advertising agency. They sacked me there. You know, it was not APN.
APN recognized.
You get. But we had good deals though. We had NNPC account at some point, that's like that, you know. And but they sacked me. And then and then I ran into media. I tried, nobody wanted to employ me. So I respected myself and stopped working. So
look, I should have employed you now.
No,
because he himself is Duke now. So two Dukes would have met.
It's his loss, but God likes him. Because much later in life he now found me. So now you know. So my question to you now is that in your own career trajectory, do you get so? Because I see a lot of networking, I see a lot of relationship management, I see a lot of friendships intertwining. Do you get so which one would you say mattered the most for you while trying to build insights and build your career? Was it the value of the proposition or the relationships that helped you get the mandates?
Yeah, look. I mean, for crying out loud, people don't come to you if they're not getting the value. From you. Who's going to be wasting his time trying to be your friend if you're not adding anything? True. So the first thing is, what are you bringing to the party?
True.
It is after you have succeeded in doing that, that you actually begin to create a relationship. And there are clients that, I mean, in fact, most of the clients that I work for became my clients. I don't want to begin to name names, but real serious players, you know, in marketing. And I'm talking about playing at the C-suites, you know, and it's because of what you bring to the party. They're there, they want to sell their products or services. I am there to help create that communication, that link between their brands and the consumer.
But wait, sir, so what role did your public image, because from what I read, that you understood how to play the media, so build the firm and also build yourself. You guys, what role did that also play in this? Because I'll tell you, and let me explain to you why. One second, let me explain to you why. So one day, I was going to Zenith Bank to look for sponsorship for one of my plays. So I had an appointment, and then I got there, and Mo Abudu was coming, same day. Maybe our appointment was like some minutes after mine, you know. But she already had the forward team, celebrities, name recognition. You get me now? The whole office was like, Mo is coming. So I had my meeting, I got my money. But I know it's not the kind of money that she would have come for. So what my head was like, look, it's celebrity, it's image that this person has used to take me out. So that's why I'm asking this question now. So there's that Biodun Shobanjo larger than life figure. Do you get now? So what does that have an input in winning this account? So when you're sitting down in the C-suite now, the person knows you. Has that name recognition and has that I know his reputation and his pedigree and all of that. So I think that's like 50% of the job done. So,
No,
so
well,
do you
it
agree?
doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Because, you see, you are looking at Biodun Shobanjo that you know, and people now know as it were.
Yeah.
You need to go back to 45 years ago. You need to go back to 53 years ago when I started.
Yes.
You had to start building this thing.
Scratch.
And at the end of the day, I mean, when we started in 1980, nobody wanted to touch us.
Okay.
We were there beating the streets. We pursued clients who wanted to spend 10,000 naira. 10. A guy brought in rice. Then rice was in the company. He said his budget for the campaign was 10,000 naira. We did all sorts of things, I would send Jimmy to Ibadan. There used to be a company called Aska Paints. How much was Aska Paints spending? The big boys were here, they wouldn't look at us. You have to, not until people see what you can do. In our business, it's a business of show me. What have you done for the other person? How had that helped his brand?
His brand, yeah.
Today, if I said to you, I launched Indomie in this market, it's now, everybody now knows noodles. Everybody, not Indomie, people now know noodles. But when we were building that brand, all right, in the 90s, so it's been a long time coming. And that's the advantage that we have. In fact, look at what's up. Do you know that I retired in this business 20 years ago?
Yeah, head at 60.
Yes. So, but the company is there. Shobanjo's name is not mentioned when they go there anymore. Because I'm no longer relevant to that conversation. The last time I sat down with any client, like we are talking now, was 20 years ago.
Oh.
20 years ago. So that must tell you that it is not, what are we talking about? You look at all these global agencies that we talk about, WPP, whatever. The guys who founded them, where are they? But those businesses are running.
Still running, yeah.
So you need to, and that is the point that I wanted to, the explanation I wanted to give you when you were talking about why don't you go and list. It is in our interest at this stage to be with to have a corporate investor who plays in the same area as we do to come with us, because we can learn from them.
From them, yeah.
We can send our people to their offices in different parts of the world. They can see how things are done. They can, understand what I'm saying? Now, if we went to the market and took money, what are we going to do with that money? No, seriously.
True.
What are you going to buy? It's not about buying equipment. Our business is not about equipment. It's about knowledge. It's about intellect.
True.
It's about the way technology is taking us.
True.
We need to understand that. So we want to learn. We want to partner with people who are investors in our business, who can teach us. We are still learning because we want to be leaders in this market.
Brilliant. Okay, so I hear you're 80. How
in a couple of weeks to come.
Weeks to come, yes. How does that feel?
Fantastic. But I tell you something. It's a number. I don't feel it.
You don't look it.
Thank you.
But you can snatch my girlfriend. I'm telling you. Because if they see me like this, I can just come for you. Come on, both.
Duke, don't worry. My girlfriend is very safe.
I hope so. She was calling her mom. I said, no, come. Just stay there first. I'll come meet you down the road.
No, talking seriously, I still do the things that I do.
Like
sleep early, wake early.
Things in the other room.
Sorry?
Things in the other room.
I beg your pardon.
Tell us that.
Which other room now? Oh, you mean the one that President...
What are you talking about? Yeah? They call you, they say...
No, you have to. To answer that question, you need another interview with my wife.
Definitely. But what does your wife call you? What does your wife call you? What was the romantic name she calls you?
Yeah, she calls me. Actually, she calls me darling.
Yeah.
So actually, she tends to say darling most times. In fact, come to think of it, she hardly calls me by my name.
Yeah, just darling.
Yeah, everything is darling. I think it's because she gets my money.
So what are the values that you hold that you want us to take away from?
Me. To understand my values, you also would have to see who my friends are. I have very few friends.
Oh, brilliant.
I have very, very few friends. Things about integrity that too key to me. Honesty. All right? Integrity, honesty. Work culture. You have, for me, my life is work. Seriously. And passion. I if you're my friend, I don't have to see you. I know where you are. I know where I place you. And it's vice versa. Those are the values, the kind of values. And I treasure friendship. You will be amazed, like I said a couple of minutes ago, the number of friends I've had through working relationships. And those things come out of trust. They can trust me.
Good.
They can give their assignment to me. They know that I'll do it the best.
Okay, so we're running on that. What's your take on spirituality? Because as I read that book, a lot of people have gone. Late this, late that, late this, late that. So what's your take on spirituality? How do you see life after? What's your outlook to all those kind of things? Turning 80.
I think that I have a very funny perspective. Maybe because of things that have happened around me. I promised myself I'm not likely to die until I'm about 100. All right. So it makes me just go. All right. Because I've suffered my own beat. If my father died at 49, I have no reason dying quickly.
Yeah.
So let me let me make up for the time that he didn't spend.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, I believe that, again, knowledge about even our surroundings and our health is very critical.
Yeah.
So I believe that if I do the right things, I may be able to live long. I mean, I don't know what heaven looks like. So why should I be, like Zig said, why should we be in a hurry to go there? So let me enjoy the bit that I see here.
Yeah.
But I am a Bible-believing Christian.
Oh, brilliant.
I practice the things that are in the Bible. Fairness to each other, loving each other.
But you definitely do not practice the Solomon part of the Bible. So you're not the total Christian.
No. No, not those kind of ones. Haba. No.
Okay, so my last question. So have you enjoyed this conversation?
Beautiful.
You're very sure?
It's very easy, very free. I like it.
So what was your expectation when Tosh first told us we're going to say I'm a guy Duke and we ask about erectile dysfunction? Did you ever have that kind of problem at all at any point?
No. Because even though we never met, I read you a lot.
Oh, thank you so much.
In this day, that's where I first encountered you, and I laugh when I read the things you write.
Okay.
And I thought you were a brilliant person.
Thank you.
Even though you can be very comical with some of the things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So we've let me sit down and talk this one now. So that interviews like this that wants to make you feel that we should just keep going on, or maybe trying to be serious. This was just too short for everything that I've learned here. It's 1,001 things that you want to ask. Tosh, maybe we should do this again. Maybe when the guy is 81, we'll come back and do this again. 1,001 things I want to talk about. 8,001 things, but there's no time to talk about this. I just want to thank Mr. Biodun Shobanjo. They said they don't call you Biodun. Why? You don't like it? If I say Biodun now, you slap me or something?
No, just that that's the way people. Yorubas don't. Hardly will you hear anybody that bears any being called Biodun.
Okay.
They just call Biodun. Yeah.
Okay. So we've had Mr. Biodun Shobanjo, an icon in the advertising space. Do you get? So basically, I can rightly say that you are to advertising what Afebolola is to law.
No.
Okay, and I will explain. So Afebolola has trained 300 lawyers, had over 30 SAN, Do you get? So a lot of people have passed through you because from names you mentioned, as names I've seen, some of the major guys in this industry right now, do you get passed through you? People like Udemo Ford, my brother. You know, have you eaten his goat meat before?
I say people eat afang.
Afang, oh my god, it's crazy, man. yeah. I used to go to you just in his house, eat afang in his house. Yeah, I'm telling you. And then my brother,
We plucked him when he came from Calabar to
oh,
look for an advertising agency in Lagos.
okay, okay, really. And then my brother George Noah.
He was driving a Volkswagen, one blue Volkswagen Beetle like that.
Yeah, and then my sister Tosh, I heard Tosh was MD of your quadrant at some point.
That's correct.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So thank you guys. We look forward to a second session. I insist there must be a second session on this because a lot of things to talk about. Thank you, sir. God bless for joining
Thank you
us.
so
God
very
bless
much.
so much. Can I shake you?
Yes.
Brilliant, sir.
I really
Thank you so
enjoyed
much.
myself.